Hello, I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan and this channel is dedicated to skincare for skin of colour. So today's video is a little bit different. I thought we'd do a bit of a light-hearted video. I think often I bombard you with so much science that sometimes you must have a headache watching my videos. So today I thought I'd do something a little bit different and we thought we'd do an assumptions video. So I went onto my Instagram at Skincare by Dr. V and I asked you, what are your assumptions about me? And they were so funny and I just thought, if some of you are saying this then a lot of you are thinking this. So I thought, let me put some of these assumptions to rest. So let's dive right in. Okay, so starting off with the first assumption, which says, Dr. V, you're rich, you live in a mansion, and you're married to a Caucasian. Okay, so basically all three of these are wrong. I would say I'm comfortable. I do have a chain of successful clinics, which means that I don't really worry too much about finances. I think that's given me the freedom to never have to accept sponsorship, which means that I get to create this channel and give you information that is completely unbiased. I think maybe that gives you the impression that I'm rich. I wouldn't say rich, I'd say comfortable. I'd say we spend only a very small percentage of what we earn. Majority of what I make, I invest back into high yield property. And the reason I do that is a bit morbid, but my parents have basically always said, pray for the best, hope for the best and expect the worst, which means that you're always thinking, are the kids going to be okay if anything ever happens to me? And this way I know the kids will be fine if anything happens to me, at least financially. So this way, we don't really spend a huge amount. We're quite, we're not that lavish, but we like to invest in property to make sure that our kids will be fine. Okay, so who am I married to? I'm married to a Punjabi boy. We met at UCL. So I was studying medicine and he was studying economics. He then went on to do his master's at Cambridge. And we dated for 5 years. So basically I dated him throughout my whole of medical school. So he saw me go through all the stress of exams, and I mean, I don't know how much you know about me and stress. I'm really bad at handling stress and I do get very stressed and I work extremely hard, which means that, in medical school, every time I had an exam, I'd be losing my hair. I would not be able to breathe. I get this thing called globus hystericus, where at the back of my throat, it feels like a ball and I physically think I'm not going to be able to survive the night. So that's just great. These are just some of the issues that I have to handle. But he has actually been amazing. He saw me through my worst moments of my life, and that's sort of how I knew this was the man for me. I think one question I get asked a lot is, how is it I'm able to do so much? And honestly, it's because of my husband, because I set myself impossibly high goals. I've always done the job of 3 different people at the same time. And he has always supported that, which means that even when it comes to parenting, we are co-parents. We literally 50-50, which means that I then get the time to do what I want to do and achieve what I want to achieve, which has just, honestly, if you're looking to get married, make sure you find yourself someone who is going to support your dreams too. I think if I was on, someone actually said I do really well on Matchmaker, Netflix Matchmaker. I think I would do so badly because I do set really high goals and I work really hard. Those people didn't do well on Matchmaker. I would have been the one that would be telling off to say, get back into your box and don't think so big. The next assumption was, Dr. V, you've had cosmetic procedures. And the answer is yes. I had my rhinoplasty, so I had a nose job when I was 24 years old. And I always wanted to do it, but I never had the money to do it. So, was I 24 or 23? I think I was 24 years old because I took my engagement money. So I got engaged at 24 years old. I took my engagement money, which was our gift money, and I put it directly into my nose because my dad had gifted me his Punjabi nose, which is rather large. It's like it's large, and I've got a tiny face and it just didn't suit my face. So I remember I didn't even tell my dad until the day before the procedure, and I think my mum must have dropped it and told him. And he didn't even say anything, which made me think later he knew I needed to get the procedure done. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you everything today. I'm not holding anything back. Okay, so what other treatments have I done? Yeah, so I do Botox on here because I love to move my face. My face is, you know, very animated, but I didn't want to get lines here, so I did a tiny bit of Botox just here. What else did I do? Oh, my melasma treatment. So I did that after my second baby. So I did that 3 years ago, but I'm still obsessive with my sunscreen, and I wear my aftercare at nighttime. So I basically did our treatment at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic, and I use my aftercare. So you can follow me at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic if you don't already, and Skincare by Dr. V on Instagram. Yeah, so I did my melasma treatment. Filler, yeah, I put filler here in my upper face because after my second baby, I lost so much weight, and this is what tends to happen. You lose mid-face fat. And so suddenly everything starts to drop. So I just wanted to restore the fat that I had there before. So really, I do try and sort of just restore my face rather than change my face, which I think is quite different. So the next one is, Dr. V, you're short. I mean, I think that's just mean, but yes, I am short. I'm 5'3". I don't know, is that short? I think that's pretty average for an Asian lady. But my husband is 6'1", and so it's a bit of a joke. We look really funny next to each other, and anytime I want to kiss him, I have to like yank his neck down, and he's got a really long neck, so the poor boy goes through a lot of pain. Yeah. So the next assumption was, Dr. V, you come from a wealthy family. Okay, so I actually came from a first generation immigrant family from Kenya. So my parents both came from Africa. And if any of you, would you write down yes below if you're also from an immigrant family? Because every single penny they made went into my education. So I did get fantastic education. I was in the top 4th school in the country, so Laydale Nahola School for Girls. I remember when I got my GCSEs and A-levels, it was 4th in the league tables. So it was a fantastic school, but there was tremendous pressure to succeed because every penny did go into my education, which meant that failure was not an option. Failure was equivalent to death. You know, it was really quite terrifying. I think they were scared. I think my parents were very scared. I think most immigrants are, and the kids feel it, and the kids feel like, you know, you don't ever stop working. You'll work all night. You'll do whatever you need to succeed. So I think that work ethic happened very young for me, and you never really lose it. You know, no matter how old you get, no matter how successful you become, that work ethic is instilled in you, you know? So I am grateful for it. And I think anyone else who's an immigrant or a child of an immigrant will fully get that pressure. So just to give you an example, I remember, you know how most people get maternity leave? Because I always worked for myself, I never had maternity leave. I took 2 weeks off before both my children, and I took 2 weeks off after both my children. And I had a C-section both times, which meant that obviously, you know, you shouldn't be standing, you shouldn't be walking, you certainly shouldn't be working. But, you know, I don't know, it was that work ethic inside me. It's just, you know, I felt like that's what I should be doing. I should be working. And I remember I was in clinic, I think it was after Josh, after my second baby, and I was moving furniture, which I know is just the most ridiculous thing. But I had to set it up for the consultation, and there was nobody there to help me. So I was just moving a chair. I thought I can just move the chair, but then I felt something pop. And I think I caused some internal damage, and that was not a good place to be. It was very painful and very scary, and I felt like that wasn't my smartest moment. So, you know, I think there are a lot of positives when it comes to having a strong work ethic. I think you can achieve anything, you know, whatever you set your mind to, you can manifest it, you can make it happen. But I think sometimes we also don't know our limits, and sometimes we push ourselves too hard. And I think that's the downside. So the next assumption is, Dr. V, you love Bollywood movies, and I wonder what gives it away. So my mum, you know how we talk about tiger moms and alpha women? My mum was the alpha queen. I mean, she would make, I did Kathak and Bharatiyam. So I did North Indian and South Indian classical dancing majority of my childhood. I became a qualified Kathak teacher by the time I was 11 years old. And I think that was their backup mentality. If anything ever happened to them, at least I had something to fall back on. So we'd go to dance class, and then afterwards we'd always go to a Bollywood movie, and I'd be sitting there in my Punjabi suit, and I'd literally be the only Indian, like 10-year-old in a Punjabi suit in England in a Bollywood movie, crying into my junni, because every single Bollywood movie is a tearjerker. Every single one. So I was the least cool child growing up. You know, I'm still not cool, obviously, but yeah, it was pretty bad back then. So the next assumption is, Dr. V, you had an arranged marriage. Oh, wow, really? Oh, okay. So don't forget, watch those Bollywood movies. And I really thought I was going to get married and find the boy at university. So I did the Indian dance show at UCL. It was called Ringila, and my whole extended family came to watch. And I obviously was dancing and singing because this is what my parents had taught me to do. And in the fashion show, there was this tall boy. And my grandma, my naniji, actually said, Vanita, who's that tall boy at the back? And I didn't know. So I went to investigate to see who this boy was. And it was my husband, my future husband. So actually we started talking, and then we dated. And then the second I qualified as a doctor, we got engaged. Literally, I think it was that day. My mom just couldn't wait any longer. So no, not arranged. 100% love. The next one is, Dr. V, you look after your diet. I would say my metabolism has really slowed down as I've aged. And so I've had to become a bit more careful, and I do intermittent fasting. And also I want to delay my aging process, which means you don't want to have massive fluctuations in weight. However, I do love sugar, and that's never going to go. That's never going to change. So I sort of look after my diet, and I try and exercise every day, but you know, I'm not obsessive about it. The next one made me laugh. It says, Doc likes to party hard. I would say the answer is yes. I love to dance. I love to go out. Generally, most nights out, I'm the one that's organizing. And so, yeah, we learned this mantra actually in medical school, which says work hard, play hard. And I think that's important because you do only have one life that we know of. And I work so hard that when I do want to like let loose and I want to dance and have fun, I think that's really important too for your stress levels. The next one is, you don't get much sleep. This is unfortunately also true. I work till about 1 in the morning every day, and I tend to wake up at about 6 or 7 a.m. every day. And it is because I'm working, you know. If you knew what I did in one day, you would cry. I'm running clinics. I'm, whether it's filming, writing information for YouTube. Now we're launching our skincare line for skin of color. So that's Dr. V. So you'll see that if you're following me on Instagram. But it's a lot. I'm looking after my children. I clean my own house. I do a lot. So yeah, probably don't get as much sleep as I should. The next assumption was actually really sweet. It said, Dr. V, your family is proud. That made me cry a little bit. I think they are proud. But the thing is, they always set really high expectations for me, impossibly high expectations. And now I do that for myself. And so now they're actually on they're part of their life where they're trying to relax. And me, I'm in the part of my life where I'm working harder than ever. So, every day I'll be on the phone to them and I'll say, okay, this is what I need to do today. And this is what's going on. And they'll always say, my mum always comes off the phone and says, Mita, I need to go and meditate now. I need to go and do my Om to find peace again after speaking to you. So I think I actually just stress them out now more than make them proud. So the next one is, Dr. V, you're a middle child. And the answer is 100% no. I am the eldest child. I think eldest children have the strictest upbringing. So definitely I had the strictest upbringing. I think my dad pushed me on the education front the hardest. Probably even more than my brother. Even my dad would say that. And I think the reason is my dad's siblings, so he had 3 sisters who were not educated, and all the education went into him and his brother, which meant that it really caused a lot of issues between them, and the siblings separated and never spoke to each other again. he really didn't want that for us. So he basically educated us all, pushed us all, and he didn't ever discriminate between boys and girls because, you know, of what he'd seen and, you know, his experience. And so my dream was always to, you know, like fund my parents' retirement and not have that stereotype of boys versus girls thing, because my dad never did it. You know, my dad never separated us or made us feel to be anything less than. So that's one thing I'm really grateful for. The next assumption, Dr. V, you don't know Punjabi. So I have my own language, and my language is a mixture of Hindi, Punjabi, and English. So basically just enough to communicate with my grandparents. But yes, you're basically right. Dr. V is pathetic, and I've tried to learn, but it's just, I think everyone just laughs at me every time I attempt it. So the next one was interesting. It said, Dr. V, your idea of YouTube came from HIRAM. And I'd say actually to an extent, yes. I really didn't think that people would be interested in ingredients. So seeing him talk about ingredients in such detail made me realize actually that people are interested. They're not going to be bored by it. And because I had all the knowledge of skin of color, then I thought I could easily do this and talk about ingredients and percentages, but specifically for skin of color, because in my laboratory, I did clinical studies on individual ingredients for skin of color, what the highest percentages we could use were, and then which the best combinations were, and then how to formulate them. So it was great because then I could give you all that information for free, and you would be interested in wanting to learn about it. So yes, I'd say to an extent, I definitely was inspired by HIRAM. So answer is yes. Oh, the next one was really sweet. It said, you are always happy and positive. So I actually asked my husband, am I always happy and positive? And he said yes too, which was nice. He said in my sleep, sometimes I laugh and like I'm smiling in my sleep. So I think that's just a bit strange, to be honest. I asked him why he's even looking at me. That's just strange. So yeah, I think the answer is yes to that one. The next one was so cheeky. So it says, you have a favorite child. We're not allowed to say that, are we? That did actually make me laugh, to be honest. So I'd say my baby Josh is my baby, right? So I'm very protective of him. And I probably do treat him differently because he is the baby. Sienna has the same energy as me, the same enthusiasm as me. And so we're actually doing a collaboration in 6 months. We're actually creating the world's first scar cream for children of color. So when you have a scratch or a bite or a burn for children, there is nothing right now. I mean, there's nothing for us, let alone for children. So I thought that'd be a really great way to introduce her to the world of creams and how they work and ingredients. So, and she's just like me. She, wants to know, she wants to be on my YouTube video. She wants to have her own YouTube channel. She doesn't even want to be on my YouTube channel. So I don't know if I have favorites, but I definitely think I treat them differently. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic and Skincare by Dr. V. Please, can you write down below what other videos you want me to make for you? I know today was a little bit different to usual, so please can you give me a thumbs up just so that, I'm not embarrassed. And actually, if you've had any of the same experiences as me, can you just write them down for me as well? Because it'd be so nice to just know that, we're not going through difficult times on our own, that we're all going through it at the same time. I think it makes you feel like there are other people out there like you. Thank you very much for watching.